neutral for this tournament. The long journey is over. McIlroy has his masterpiece.
For 11 years, people said he would never do it. Critics whispered that Rory McIlroy had lost his edge, that the burden of chasing the career Grand Slam had crushed him. The comparisons to Jack Nicklaus felt like a curse instead of a compliment. But in April 2025, everything changed. At age 35, McIlroy walked up the 18th fairway at Augusta National and did what so many thought was impossible. He won the Masters in a playoff against Justin Rose, completing the rarest achievement in golf. Only 5 other men in history had done it. And suddenly the Nicklaus comparison was not just talk anymore. It was real. This was not just about one tournament. The 2025 season marked a complete transformation. McIlroy won at Pebble Beach, at TPC Sawgrass, and at the Masters. He claimed his 7th Race to Dubai title and won the Irish Open in front of his home crowd. He led Team Europe to victory in an away Ryder Cup, one of the toughest feats in golf. Jack Nicklaus himself watched the Masters and said the drought had been a mystery. He called McIlroy too good to go so long without winning a major. But now the mystery was solved. The dam had broken, and if Nicklaus was right about one more thing, the victories would come in bunches. The final round at Augusta was chaos. Justin Rose fired a 66 to post 11 under par in the clubhouse. McIlroy, playing in the final group, needed a par on 18 to win outright. But on the tee, he made a choice that nearly cost him everything. Full driver when a 3-wood would have kept him safe. Nicklaus, watching from the sidelines, called it a brain fart. The ball found the bunker. McIlroy made bogey and dropped to 11 under, forcing a playoff. But in sudden death, he corrected the mistake. He overpowered the hole with precision and made no errors. When the putt dropped, McIlroy fell to his knees. The monkey was off his back. The burden he had carried since August 2014 was gone. This victory placed him in the club of 6. Gene Sarazen completed the career Grand Slam in 1935 at age 33. Ben Hogan did it in 1953 at 40. Gary Player became the first international player to achieve it in 1965 at 29. Jack Nicklaus completed his slam in 1966 at 26. Tiger Woods became the youngest ever in 2000 at 24, and now Rory McIlroy joined them at 35, hitting an 11-year drought and becoming the first European to complete the modern slam. Sir Nick Faldo said achieving the Grand Slam puts you in a different category. It elevates you above legends like Seve Ballesteros and even Faldo himself, who won 6 majors but never captured all 4. The drought was brutal. From 2014 to 2025, McIlroy played 37 majors without a win. He had top 10 finishes at a rate that rivaled the best in history, but he could not close. There were slow starts at US Opens, disastrous rounds like the 77 at the 2016 Masters, and near misses that felt like gut punches. Every year the question got louder. Why had he not won? He was too talented. The game was too easy for him. The burden of the Grand Slam pursuit weighed on him. Watching Jordan Spieth, Brooks Koepka, and Scottie Scheffler win majors while he stayed stuck added to the pressure. By 2025, some people had stopped believing. But the comparison to Nicklaus held up even during the drought. Jack had his own gaps. After winning the 1967 US Open, Nicklaus went 3 years without a major. In 1979, he went winless on the PGA Tour for the first time in his career. Critics whispered that his best days were behind him. Yet in 1980, at age 40, he came back and won the US Open and the PGA Championship. Nicklaus called McIlroy's drought a mystery, but he also predicted that once the first win came, more would follow. The 2025 season proved him right. The Triple Crown of 2025 showed versatility that few players possess. McIlroy started the year by winning at Pebble Beach, a coastal links that demands creativity and wind management. Then he won the Players' Championship at TPC Sawgrass, often called the 5th major. Winning there requires precision iron play and nerves on the island green at 17. The victory signaled that every part of his game was working. Then came Augusta. The Masters completed the slam, but it was only the headline. Beyond the PGA Tour, McIlroy dominated globally. He won his 7th Harry Vardon Trophy, cementing his status as the European Tour's greatest modern player. He won the Irish Open in thrilling fashion, a sentimental victory on home soil. And he led Europe to victory in an away Ryder Cup, which he described as one of the hardest achievements in golf. Experts called 2025 the greatest season of his career, not just for the trophies, but for how he won and the personal ghosts he vanquished. Totality of accomplishment matters. Some seasons are defined by a single brilliant week. Others are defined by sustained excellence across multiple continents and against different fields. The 2025 season belonged to the second category. McIlroy proved he could win on windswept links, on stadium courses with island greens, on the most hallowed ground in golf, and in front of passionate European crowds. Proved he could lead a team and carry the weight of continental pride on his shoulders. It was not the flash of a hot streak. This was dominance built on preparation, wisdom, and an unshakable belief that the breakthrough was coming. The parallels to Nicklaus go deeper than win counts. Both men overpower golf courses through a combination of high trajectory driving and towering iron shots. In 1980, at age 40, Nicklaus led the PGA Tour in total driving, a stat that combines distance and accuracy. He ranked 10th in distance at about 269 yards and 13th in accuracy. It was a rare feat to lead in both power and precision. In 2025, at age 36, McIlroy exhibited similar dominance. He ranked second on the PGA Tour with an average of 323 yards, trailing only 19-year-old Aldrich Potgieter. He also ranked at the top in strokes gained off the tee, gaining nearly a shot per round on the field, purely with his driver. This ability to maintain elite distance into the mid-30s is the cornerstone of what analysts call Phase 2. Just as Nicklaus used his length to shorten courses like Baltusrol and Oak Hill in 1980, McIlroy's 323-yard average allows him to reduce par 5s to mid-iron approaches. This is a massive advantage over the average amateur, who drives 234 yards, and even the average tour pro, who drives around 300 yards. Biomechanical analysis suggests McIlroy's swing, while violent, is efficient. His focus on fitness has allowed him to maintain the rotational speeds necessary to generate over 120 miles per hour of clubhead speed. Experts believe that with modern equipment and his current physical conditioning, McIlroy could realistically maintain this distance advantage well into his 40s, much like Nicklaus did. Physics of longevity are on his side. The modern game rewards distance more than ever before. Courses are longer, but they are also softer, meaning big hitters can attack pins without fear of running through greens. McIlroy's combination of power and control positions him perfectly for this era. A critical but underreported factor in McIlroy's 2025 success was a series of decisive equipment changes. Unlike his younger self, who relied on raw talent, the 36-year-old McIlroy embraced technological adjustments to mitigate weaknesses and enhance strengths. Early in the season, before his win at Pebble Beach, he switched from the tailor-made TP5X golf ball to the standard TP5. During testing, he noticed that the TP5 offered a lower launch on shorter shots, but actually more spin around the greens. He said he loved how it was reacting around the greens and that it was coming off with a much lower launch but spinnier. He accepted a marginal loss in absolute peak distance for increased control and feel in the short game. This decision paid immediate dividends at Pebble Beach and was instrumental around the undulating greens of Augusta National. His driving dominance was powered by the tailor-made Key 10 dot driver, prototype version designed for high-speed players. The specs were 9 degrees of loft, set to 8.25 degrees with a Fujikura Ventus Black 6X shaft at 45 inches, tipped 1 inch. This setup allowed him to maintain his high launch and low spin characteristics while providing the forgiveness needed for the aggressive lines he took, like on the 18th hole at the Masters. Perhaps the most critical change was on the greens. McIlroy switched to a tailor-made Spider Tour X mallet putter, featuring a Superstroke Zenergy Pistol Tour grip. The move to a mallet provides higher moment of inertia, resisting twisting on off-center hits. The Superstroke grip, which is non-tapered, helps quiet the hands during the stroke. Stabilizing his putting was the final piece of the puzzle, mirroring how Nicklaus used the oversized McGregor Response putter to win the 1986 Masters. For the Masters specifically, McIlroy adjusted his tailor-made MG4 lob wedge, bending it from 60 degrees to 61 degrees. This subtle tweak allowed for more loft and versatility from the tight lies of Augusta's collection areas, demonstrating meticulous attention to course-specific setup. Equipment decisions reflect the wisdom of a veteran champion. The younger McIlroy might have stubbornly stuck with what he knew, trusting pure talent to overcome any deficiency. The 36-year-old version understood that at the highest level, the margins are razor-thin. A half degree of loft, a different ball compression, or a more stable putter can be the difference between winning and finishing second. This willingness to adapt and optimize is another trait he shares with Nicklaus, who was famous for tinkering with his equipment throughout his career to extract every possible advantage. The willingness to change equipment also reveals something deeper about McIlroy's mindset entering 2025. He was not content to blame bad luck or bad breaks for the drought. He took ownership. He analyzed his weaknesses with brutal honesty. His putting had been inconsistent under pressure. His wedge play around Augusta had cost him chances in previous years. His ball flight with the TP5X was not optimized for the conditions he faced most often. So he fixed those things. He tested different options. He worked with his team to identify the exact specifications that would give him an edge. This level of self-awareness and accountability is what separates champions from nearly great players. The mental aspect of McIlroy's game has been scrutinized as much as his swing. The 2025 season revealed a player who had not conquered his nerves, but learned to win despite them. Nicklaus's commentary on the 18th hole decision provided a fascinating window into the psychological expectations of a legend. He criticized the driver choice as a brain fart, implying a lapse in strategic thinking. However, Nicklaus also drew a parallel to his beloved Ohio State Buckeyes. He noted that when Ohio State abandoned their identity and played too conservatively, they failed. When they regained their edge, they succeeded. Nicklaus applied this to McIlroy. The aggressive play, while risky, was Rory trusting his strengths and letting talent take over. The lesson was to stick to what works, even if it induces anxiety. The completion of the Grand Slam removed what Nicklaus called the monkey from McIlroy's back. Nicklaus stated that the Grand Slam was a product of winning the Masters. If you asked McIlroy which was more important, the Slam or the green jacket, he would have to say the Masters. That is because it was. This psychological liberation is expected to be the catalyst for Phase 2. With the burden lifted, McIlroy can now play with the freedom that characterized his early 20s. Tiger Woods welcomed Rory to the club, praised his determination during the entire journey. What people often misunderstand about pressure is that it does not go away when you are talented. If anything, it gets worse. The world expects you to deliver. Every tournament becomes a referendum on your career. Every Sunday, you are in contention. Narrative shifts to whether this will be the one or just another close call. McIlroy lived with that for 11 years. He felt the weight of expectations every time he stepped on the first tee at Augusta. He heard the whispers about whether he would ever complete the Slam. And for a long time, that pressure paralyzed him at critical moments. But in 2025, something shifted. He stopped running from the pressure and started embracing it. Stopped trying to be perfect and started trying to be himself. The moment McIlroy described the win as a dream come true, referencing his childhood memories of watching Tiger Woods win in 1997, revealed the emotional depth of this victory. This was not just about adding another trophy to the collection. It was about fulfilling a vision he had carried since he was a boy. Grand Slam was never just a professional goal, it was a personal obsession. And when he finally achieved it, the release was complete. Tears, the relief, the joy, all of it poured out in that moment on the 18th green. The central thesis of the next Nicklaus argument is that McIlroy's career is not winding down. He is entering a second, highly productive phase. The historical data of Nicklaus's career between age 36 and 46 is the roadmap. Critics who wrote off Nicklaus in the late 70s were silenced by his performance in his late 30s and 40s. At age 38 in 1978, he won the Open Championship. At age 40 in 1980, he won the U.S. Open and PGA Championship in a dual major season. At age 46 in 1986, he won the Masters. In total, Nicklaus won 4 majors after the age of 35. McIlroy simply matches this pace. He would finish his career with 9 major championships, a tally that would place him alone in the pantheon behind only Nicklaus and Woods. McIlroy is better positioned than Nicklaus was to achieve this due to modern sports science. He utilizes Whoop technology to monitor his recovery, sleep, strain, and heart rate variability. He has spoken at length about the underappreciated nature of longevity, citing Novak Djokovic, who won multiple Grand Slams past age 35 as a role model. McIlroy's routine includes rigorous pre- and post-round recovery protocols, breathing visualization, and a rejection of social media noise to preserve mental energy. At 36, McIlroy shows no signs of the physical decline that often plagues golfers. His driving distance is holding steady or even increasing relative to the field, suggesting his athletic prime has been extended artificially through science. The 2025 season has effectively settled the debate regarding the greatest European golfer of all time. Prior to this, Sir Nick Faldo held the title by virtue of his 6 major championships. However, the completion of the Grand Slam carries a weight that transcends raw numbers. Faldo himself addressed this shift following the Masters. He stated that McIlroy is right there with the all-time greats like Hogan, Player, Nicklaus, and Woods, and that achieving the Grand Slam puts you in a different category. While Faldo has 6 majors to McIlroy's 5, McIlroy possesses the Grand Slam, significantly more PGA Tour wins, and 7 Race to Dubai titles. The consensus among analysts and fans is that McIlroy's comprehensive resume now eclipses Faldo's concentrated peak. The 2025 season was not an endpoint for Rory McIlroy, it was a pivot point. By completing the career Grand Slam, he has closed the chapter on the lost decade and opened Phase 2. The parallels to Jack Nicklaus are no longer theoretical, they are statistical and biomechanical realities. Like Nicklaus, McIlroy overcame a mid-career lull to rediscover dominance in his mid-30s. The path to 8 or 9 majors is now clear, following the Nicklaus timeline from age 36 to 46. With a driving average of 323 yards and a commitment to total driving, McIlroy possesses the same unfair advantage that Nicklaus wielded in 1980. The removal of the Grand Slam pressure allows McIlroy to play with the trust and common sense that Nicklaus advocated for, turning the brain farts of the past into the calculated aggression of a champion. Rory McIlroy is no longer chasing the ghost of Jack Nicklaus's early career. He is now walking in the footsteps of the Golden Bear's enduring legacy. The next Nicklaus has finally arrived, not as the 25-year-old prodigy we expected, but as the 36-year-old legend we are witnessing. And if history repeats itself, the best is yet to come.